group for kind of a lightning round of closing advice from each of our panelists. I'm going to ask you to continue to monitor the chat also, because we'll be posting some links to resources related to the different fundraising formats that we're going to talk about tonight. So let me introduce you to the virtual fundraising gurus who are with us tonight so we can get started with our panel. The first one we're going to hear from is Rock Jenkins from Maple Valley Rotary, and they knocked it out of the park this fall with an amazing virtual auction, both live and silent, and Rock is going to give you the secrets of their success. Following Rock, number 2, is going to be Paul Sessa, who's visiting us from District 5220 and the Rotary Club of Salida. And he is going to talk through a very successful concept effectively presented and executed across several of clubs in that district called Dine and Do Good. Number 3 is going to be Lake Union Rotarian Ruth Ann Halford, who's going to talk about taking a live event and moving it online. So what are live events online looking like these days? And Lake Union is recognized across our district for some of the most fun live events, and they've been able to pivot and do those online. And then finally, Kay Peterson of Shoreline Rotary is going to talk about how to do a virtual Raise the Paddle. So again, auctions, Drive, Dine, and Do Good, virtual events, and virtual Raise the Paddle. So Rock, get us started.
All right, thanks. I'm not sure I qualify as a guru, but we did have a successful auction. Maple Valley Rotary has about, for context, has about 75 or 80, maybe 85 members. 30 or 40 of those are very active. Our auction focus this year, our auction was held in October. The focus of it was to help community organizations recover, food banks, community centers, a domestic violence organization in our community, and a school food program. I think one of the keys that I can talk about more in my breakout is the staffing and organization that we had was key to our success, and that's, you know, that is very similar to a live or a virtual auction. But obviously this was our first shot at virtual, so some of the other key elements that helped us succeed. Sponsorships, we had a couple of people who were really active there, actually raised about 23,000 of about 85,000 total. 23,000 was in sponsorships. From an auction standpoint, we had about 30 to 35 silent items, 7 live items, and a 60-minute program. So it was a rocket sled ride to get done in 60 minutes, but to keep people's attention, you really need to keep it compact and moving fast. From a marketing standpoint, we did our marketing chair did a great job with Facebook ads and videos, and we also used our Rotary website and emails to our club from a communication standpoint. A key element in our success was micro galas, which we termed small groups that Rotarians would invite 6 to 8 non-Rotarian guests to their home, and we provided them collateral items, decor that were consistent with the event theme to kind of give a common look and feel to all these disparate events around our community. We also included a catering option for those who hosted the micro galas, and we also offered tech support for them as well if they needed to be able to hook up their big screen TVs to the YouTube platform, which is what we used for the live event itself. Video promotion and production was a big part of this, was done well in advance, tried to really produce consistent messages throughout all the public-facing communication, the club-facing communication, and then the video vignettes that we did, 6 or 7 segments that were taped prior to the event that included things like the MC welcome, a message from our auction chair, testimonials from 3 different community organizations, things like that. These totaled about 20 minutes of our 60-minute program. Those were the pre-taped video segments. And we tried to keep all those very energetic and fun and, again, fast moving. the final thing I'll talk about is the auction service we use, Stokes Auction Service, which we've used before for our live auction. They pretty quickly retrofitted themselves to be able to do virtual auctions, and they had done a few before we got a chance to work with them, but they were experienced. They used their own studio. They had 2 facilitators, lots of humor. And again, it was amazing that the whole thing, start to finish, was done in 60 minutes. As I mentioned, the results, we had about 85,000 gross proceeds. We had about 8,000 in expenses. I think the auctioneers, the auction outfit was about 6,000, something like that. So we had about a 77,000 net profit. Previous auctions we've done have been maybe 85 to 100 net, but they've also come with tons of labor from a setup standpoint and a lot of cost related to the venue and food and different things like that, auctioneer expenses. So, you know, I guess the thing that I liked most about this virtual experience was, from my standpoint, the event was much more personal for attendees. My house, we had 3 couples, and it was much easier to connect with them and just have a great personal evening, as opposed to being in a huge hall that was very noisy and crowded, where you couldn't really interact with people.
Thank you so much, Rock. We're going to move on to topic number 2, Drive, Dine, and Do Good. Please help me welcome Paul Sessa from Salida Rotary.
Greetings, everyone. I'm going to screen share and hopefully be able to show you a little bit about hopefully what we'll cover for you in our little breakout. So I'm going to repeat some of the things that Rock already said to you, which is basically, welcome to a COVID year. Opportunity is knocking. Your answer is to say yes to everybody who wants to do anything. So hopefully we can give you some ideas. I'm going to introduce, and if they want to just wave, the people that will be in our breakout room. But basically myself, I'm Salida Rotary president, but we have Wakar from Stockton Rotary. Wakar is an AG with our district. He has a club of about 200. They used a restaurant for their meals. Then there's Chris Curry. Chris, you want to give a wave out there? I can't see everybody because they've changed screens on me when I went to screen share, but hopefully all of you can. Chris comes from a club of 100 plus. They did a cooked crab drive-through, sold over 600 tickets. And our little club of 25 did, for the very first time, a drive-through, kind of a chicken dinner thing, and we sold over 500 tickets. So my point about this is to say to you, if you can't do this, which none of us can do this year, and it's what we're all used to, is a big sit-down dinner, then do something else. Do a drive-through like we did. Do something big. You can go really big like Wakar's club did. I'm talking a 3.5 pound steak. So welcome to what they did in their club. And we will talk, and I'm sure Wakar can give you guys lots of information about their club's event, and I'll be happy to cover mine. This is just really to give you an overview of some of the things that can be done. I think the most important thing in these drive-thrus is ticket sales. And what I would say to people is, just like Rock was saying, you got to keep it exciting. You got to keep it fast-paced. People are going to get bored if we don't. But by the same token, in this year, you know, you put it on your Facebook page, you put it on Instagram, you tweet about it. And the point is, as I always tell my club, we together have fun in Rotary. And that's the important part about this. The other thing that I'm going to talk about is keep dreaming, which is really, you'll see in our breakouts that the clubs did more than just food drive-thrus. It's about the whole project, whether it be like our club did a pumpkin patch or a raffle or whatever. And as Rock is saying, you can do these virtually. Wakar's club combined their event with World Polio Day. So they had their drive-through basically celebrating World Polio Day. But my point is, you could do it as part of something like a Giving Tuesday. I'm suggesting people start considering Rotary's birthday, because that's coming up here in February. So if you're thinking of planning a new event, that's something that you can do. My thing, I say to people, food delivery in 2020 does not look like it used to look, and neither does a Rotary event need to look like it used to look. So if these things can deliver food in Modesto, you can deliver a drive-through dinner. And boy, can these little guys run, because I've never seen them before, and they run pretty fast. My point is that we're thankful for the time that we have together. I always tell this to my club. Excuse me, I'm rolling faster. I don't mean to go too fast on the slides, but I'm sticking to my 5 minutes. I got my timer going, so Kate's watching me, I know. But the point is, have fun. If you do it, you'll be thankful you do. A big thing for me and our club is talking about being this close in Rotary, and you're this close to a new tradition. You're this close to not having to do dishes or setting a table. So I encourage you to consider us, join us, talk about what you want to do. If we can give you some ideas, we will. Like I said, Waqar sent me these pictures from them having quite a different type of event. But what are you thankful for? You're thankful for the people that you spend time with, which means all of your Rotary friends. And I'm down to my last 45 seconds. So I always tell my club, and I'm going to tell you, every Rotary meeting should end with a hug. And in a virtual world, this is the best I'm going to do. So please, when you do your event, remember that in 2020, set your goals so high, they're going to laugh and you're going to crush them while they watch. That's it.
Great energy. Thank you so much, Paul. So the whole idea is to work with local restaurants and kind of mark up what they're selling, and Rotary takes the difference, and everybody gets a nice meal. Maybe they get together in smaller groups, but it is sort of a food-centric fundraiser. We're going to move on to panelist number 3, and that's Ruth Ann Halford from Lake Union Rotary, talking about virtual events. Ruth Ann?
Okay, thank you. In the before times, once upon a time, which seems very long ago at this point, Lake Union Rotary had a tradition of doing several happy hours for good in the summer. Every month we would do one Thursday evening. We'd call it happy hour for good. We would pick an organization for the event to benefit. We would work closely with the organization so that we were using their lists, we were using some of their people to help us. And on the dock at the Center for Wooden Boats, if you've never been there, go there, but you can't go there right now. So we'd have a summer night, we would have live music, we would have food, we would have wine and beer, we'd have great camaraderie. We would have a good cause, always a good cause, and usually we'd have a good sunset. Not always. We did a couple of them in pouring rain, but we had canopies. So we were hoping early on in the pandemic that we would be able to do these live. And then it became clear we weren't going to be able to do May and June live. And we thought maybe if we just waited long enough, we could do July live. But it became clear that we couldn't. So about June, it seems to me that's about the time Kay Peterson was doing her Festival of Training session about virtual online events. I listened to her and was absolutely terrified because they were so professional and they were raising, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the only decision we had was either go virtual or don't do it at all. So we decided to go virtual. Knowing nothing about what we were doing. None of us had done this before. The organization we were working with, which was Alpha Supported Living, supports adults with developmental disabilities, and they had had a hard time during COVID. They've done very well compared to their peers, but it was expensive. They had spent over $300,000 in the last few months just covering COVID issues. So that's what we did. They were familiar with one of the softwares that we could use, which was Greater Good. And they actually were familiar enough that they ran the software from their offices. We did the rest of it ourselves. We did not hire professionals. And I'll in the breakout, I'll talk about what I think about doing it that way. But we were lucky to have our president and our prior president co-MC. They had great camaraderie. They tied the whole thing together. We had several pre-recorded sessions with the beneficiaries, with some of the people who worked for them. And it all worked. We made more money than some of our happy hours for good and less than some others. In the past, they'd gone from 5,000 to 60, which was a big range. And we made about 16. So it was okay for people who had no idea what they were doing. So going virtual for beginners is pretty much what mine is about. Somebody else can have the other minute.
Great. Thank you so much, Ruth Ann. I went to many of your happy hours for good, both the live and virtual, and you transitioned so well. That was great. So our final panelist is going to talk about Raise the Paddle, a long-standing fundraising technique. And Kay Peterson from the Shoreline Rotary is going to tell us how to move from real paddles to virtual paddles.
Thank you. So many of you know Raise the Paddle, Give for a Cause, Fund a Need. It's called a lot of different things. Sometimes we customize it to our own club, but basically what it means is that the donation is fully tax deductible for the donation, and the donor gets no tangible goods or services in exchange for the donation. So it's really just pure fundraising without having to procure items and do all that kind of stuff. Some people find this an efficient way to do it. It's also oftentimes incorporated into a live auction or with a silent auction and have a fund a need. So in my opinion, the most effective way to communicate the need is by video. And over the years, I've seen many people, and I will tell you that one of the clubs I was in told me I was crazy. They didn't need to do a video. They didn't need to go to all that work. And so I waited until I was president that year, and guess what we did? We did a video, and we had the best fund a need that year that we had, and they have done videos every year since then. So the video gives you the opportunity to guarantee a high quality with no rambling. Sometimes we as Rotarians like to get off topic and start telling stories. So the video focuses people and you have a clear, concise message, and you can incorporate a really strong ask into it. Number two, about making your fund a need successful. Focus, 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 and then edit, edit, edit. We as Rotarians love to tell the world everything we do. Every great project we're involved in, everything from helping at the local food bank to drilling wells somewhere else in the world. The problem with that, it's a wonderful thing to have on your website, and it's great collateral to have with your event. But if you're going to do something where you really want to concentrate on just doing as much money as you can do, you need to really focus and edit. So you should choose 1 or 2 projects, not more than 2. Highlight those with an emotional appeal, scholarships, teen homelessness, hunger, etc. And keep the video short, 3 to 4 minutes. And I'll talk through in our breakout about the hows, whys, whats, and all that. Then there's a couple of techniques you can use if you're online. Use matching funds and roll it out and drivel your matching funds out a couple of days ahead of time, because people love to give when they think that their money's going to be doubled or tripled. And then if you're in person, you can always do the preceding of the levels. But I also want to talk about one other concept, and this concept is actually what makes all of our fundraising that we're going to talk about tonight successful. And it's the new term, just like, oh, you aren't unmuted, or pivot, is peer-to-peer fundraising. So how many fundraisers have you been invited to in the last 6 months? If you're like Kathy and I, for sure, it's quadrupled, it's exploded. And why does that explode? Because if you remember the good old days, when you only had to find 8 friends to go to that dinner auction with you, and they were probably 7 of the friends that you already had gone to their auction, so it's pretty easy to find them on your list. Well, now, fast forward to the new era, and we call this peer-to-peer fundraising. Social media, put it on social media and share, share, share. Personal invitations from your contact list via email with personal invitations from you. here we go. You wouldn't be able to invite Aunt Lucy in Texas or cousin Ben and Sue in Minnesota to your dinner, or to Lake Union, to down to the wooden boat place. But in the new era, there's no limit. Aunt Lucy can just as well log on and bid and give money, and Ben and Sue in Minnesota are excited to do it because they probably haven't got as many invitations as we've had. And then they may forward that to other members of their family. So just think, if you had a 40-member club, you're probably going to have about a $200 to $250 or 200-person auction. If you have 40 club members and they each invite 25 of their peers, you now have 1,000 bidders in your little cadre. So that's what peer-to-peer is, and it's really fascinating. And we'll go into a little bit more of that in the breakout room. And with that, Kathy, I'm done and ready to go.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rock and Paul and Ruth Ann and Kay. So hopefully you got a picture of what each one of these fundraising formats is and an interest in a deeper dive. I know Ryan, our tech support, is quickly putting everybody into breakout rooms. Have we got enough people, Ryan, to get started?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up.
We may have a few people we place at the last minute, but maybe we could break to the breakout rooms, and the last few folks who are indicating their preference we can take care of. Is that okay?
Yeah, I just opened all the rooms, so.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Ciao.